She texted, LOL, you actually thought I'd cancel my Vegas trip for your surgery. Those words stared back at me from the glow of my phone screen, like a cruel joke. At first, I blinked, thinking maybe I read it wrong. Maybe there was a second message coming, one where she would say, of course I'll be there. I'm just teasing. But nothing came. The silence between each buzz of my phone stretched into an emptiness I could almost feel in my chest. I remember gripping the phone so hard my hand hurt, trying to breathe, trying to convince myself this couldn't be real. Melissa, the woman I had loved for 2 years, the woman I thought would hold my hand through the darkest nights, had just chosen flashing lights and loud music over me lying helpless in a hospital bed. You know when you meet someone who fills a space you didn't even know was empty? That's what she was at first. Melissa was loud, vibrant, always laughing. She'd pull me out of my quiet routines and drag me into life. I thought we balanced each other, her fire, my calm. She would talk about adventures, and I'd listen, content, feeling lucky just to be by her side. And even though she had this wild, restless streak, I believed her when she said she wanted something real with me. I believed her when she promised she'd be there when it mattered. But now, as I lay in that hospital bed with the thin gown scratching my skin, machines beeping in rhythm with my heartbeat, and fear gnawing at the edges of my mind, I realized those promises were as fragile as paper. The day before, I had tried to talk to her, to make her understand how much I needed her. Melissa, I said over the phone, my voice small, I'm scared. I don't want to do this alone. She sighed like I was inconveniencing her. Babe, you'll be asleep for most of it. You're acting like you're dying. It's still surgery, I whispered. They're cutting me open. What if something happens? You're being dramatic, she said, her tone flat. My flight's already booked. I can't back out now. You'll be fine. I wanted to scream. Instead, I said, so Vegas is more important than me. There was silence for a beat, then her annoyed voice, don't twist this. I deserve to live my life too. It's not fair to put this on me. And then she hung up. I stared at my phone that night until the battery nearly died. My chest ached, not from my illness, but from a deeper wound, knowing the person I loved couldn't put me first when it mattered most. Still, some foolish part of me hoped she'd wake up, change her mind, walk into that hospital room with tears in her eyes and say, I'm here. But the next morning, the only message I got was that cruel text, LOL. You actually thought I'd cancel my Vegas trip for your surgery. The nurse came in to prep me. Her smile was gentle, but I could barely look at her. My throat tightened as she adjusted the four. I wanted Melissa's hand in mine, her voice whispering comfort. Instead, I had the cold touch of plastic tubing and the distant chatter of strangers. As they wheeled me toward the operating room, I glanced at the empty chair beside my bed. That chair would haunt me for weeks because it should have been filled with her presence, her warmth, her love. When I woke up hours later, the ceiling lights above me blurred, my body heavy from anesthesia. My first thought wasn't relief that I was alive, it was her. My hands, weak and trembling, reached for my phone. The screen lit up. No calls, no messages, nothing. I waited. 5 minutes, 10, an hour. The emptiness in my chest deepened with every second. Finally, desperate, I typed, I'm out. Surgery went okay. I'm in recovery. Where are you? I stared at the screen until my eyes hurt. Nothing. Finally, hours later, a message buzzed through. Just landed. Airport is packed, lol. I'll call later. K. Lol. That tiny laugh in the middle of my pain was more cutting than any scalpel could ever be. I clenched my teeth, typed back slowly. I needed you here. I asked you for one thing, just one. Her response came fast. Don't start. You'll be fine. You're stronger than you think. I'll send pics from the show tonight. That was it. That was her care. A promise of pictures from Vegas while I lay alone, my stomach stitched, my soul breaking. Hours later, the pictures arrived. Melissa and her friends, sequins and smiles, drinks in hand, faces lit up with joy. The caption read, wish you were here. With 3 heart emojis. I turned the phone face down, tears blurring my vision. No, I whispered into the empty room. You don't wish I was there, because if you did, you'd be here. The next morning, my phone buzzed again. A call this time, against my better judgment. I answered. Her voice was bright, bubbly, almost mocking. Hey, patient, how's my guy doing? I couldn't speak. My throat tightened. Babe, you there? She asked. Finally, I whispered. You weren't here. She was silent for a moment, then sighed. We've been through this. I told you I couldn't cancel. Do you know how much this trip cost me? I laughed. bitter and hollow. Do you know how much it cost me to wake up alone? To think I might not even make it through, and the only person I wanted wasn't there. Don't guilt trip me, she snapped. You're alive, aren't you? That's what matters. Stop acting like I'm the villain. Melissa, I said softly. You promised you'd be here. God, you're impossible, she muttered. In the background, I heard music, laughter, clinking glasses. She wasn't even in a quiet place, she was calling me from a bar. I'll call you tomorrow when I'm not so busy, okay? Just get some rest. And then she hung up. I stared at the silent phone in my hand, my chest hollow. That was the moment I realized she had already left me long before I chose to leave her. Her body might have been in my life, but her heart, it was always chasing the next thrill. When I was discharged, I didn't go home to her. I went to my brother's place, dragging my suitcase behind me like it weighed 1,000 pounds. He opened the door, saw my face, and without a single question, he wrapped his arms around me. That hug shattered me, because it reminded me of what love was supposed to feel like: safe, steady, unconditional. Days later, Melissa texted again. Babe, I'm back. How's my patient doing? I stared at it, my chest tightening. She hadn't asked if the surgery went well, hadn't apologized, hadn't acknowledged the loneliness she left me in. She just slipped back into my phone like nothing had happened. I typed back only 2 words. I'm done. Her reply came fast. Wait, what? Are you serious? Over this? You're being ridiculous. Then another. You knew who I was when we started dating. I'm not some boring nursemaid. I live my life, and you knew that. She was right. I did know who she was. I just thought love would make her choose differently. I thought love would make me matter. But love isn't supposed to be about begging someone to show up. It's not supposed to be one person giving everything while the other takes and takes and takes. So I blocked her. Not out of hate, out of survival. Out of the need to finally stop bleeding for someone who never once tried to stop my pain. The months that followed were hard. Nights were the worst, lying awake, the bed beside me empty, the ghost of her laughter echoing in my head. Sometimes I wanted to call, to hear her voice, to believe her promises again. But then I'd remember that text, that cruel LOL, and it would slice through me like glass. Slowly, I started piecing myself back together. I reconnected with old friends, people I had ignored while chasing her. I picked up painting again, the brush in my hand reminding me I still had colors in me that she could never dull. My brother and I grew closer, sharing quiet dinners, late night talks, small moments that stitched me back together. And one morning, I woke up and realized I wasn't waiting for her anymore. I wasn't checking my phone. I wasn't replaying old memories like a broken record. I was living again. Melissa tried to reach out through friends, saying she wanted another chance, that she wanted to explain, but by then, her words didn't matter, because love without presence, without respect, without sacrifice isn't love. She texted, LOL, you actually thought I'd cancel my Vegas trip for your surgery, and that was the day I finally understood the truth. Love is not about who laughs with you in Vegas. It's about who sits beside you in a cold hospital room when you're too weak to stand. She chose Vegas, and I chose to leave. Stay till the very end of this video.